Welcome to the Food Bloggers Table. Pull up a chair for authentic conversations and actionable advice from fellow food bloggers and industry experts. I'm your host, Jen, and I create custom food blogs designed to earn top-tier ad income. Join us now at the table as we break bread and build brands. Before we did your redesign and restructure of your site, how did your website feel just in the day-to-day stuff?
I would say it felt like a clunky, scattered store. You know what you're going to shop there for, but once you get inside, you don't really know how to find it.
Yes.
It's like a Target, but everything's it's a little too scattered, I suppose. Not as easily searchable, obviously.
Were you seeing friction as the creator? Did you hear from people who were having issues on the front end? Do you think you were having more issues, your readers were having more issues, or kind of both?
I technically wasn't having the issues because, you put it up, you think it's fine, but then people would email me and ask me for help for finding a recipe. And in my head, thinking, why can't they find it? It's just walk over there and get it, and it's no big deal. Then I would try to go search it myself, and I was like, oh, yeah, that isn't actually that easy to find, is it? Because unless you use the very specific wording of, it was like my vanilla cake or whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm looking for your yellow cake recipe, but it's called vanilla layer cake. And unless they search vanilla layer cake, they're not going to find it. Or they have to go to cakes and go down a giant rabbit hole, pages and pages long, which no one's going to do. And I understand that. No one has time for that. I don't have time for that. So yeah, it was more for like the friction on their end. And sometimes you don't see what your readers are seeing, I guess, that
Right.
you think it's fine and all good, and
Kind of don't see the forest for the trees situation.
a little bit. Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, we know what we're thinking when we're creating it. So
Yes.
obviously everyone else is thinking exactly the same way we are. I mean, that just makes
Right.
good sense. And so it helps to have someone say, hey, I can't find this, for you to even think maybe I should try to search it myself, because you don't even know there's a problem until
Right.
someone points it out to you.
Yeah. And I think in the beginning, maybe you don't have as many recipes, so it's not as hard. And maybe you don't have as many subcategories of things. Then over time, it does become a bigger and bigger problem that, like I said, on my end, it's fine. But for anyone trying to find something, it gets harder and harder to do.
What made you decide that you needed to have a restructure done? The site itself was beautiful. There was no issue there. But when you and I first talked, I know you were telling me it felt clunky and people just couldn't get where they needed to be. So what sort of shifted you to say, okay, I really feel like I need to do something here?
Yeah, so it was on one of your previous podcasts I was listening to, because that's what I do when I recipe test. And you were saying that it was like not all readers or traffic is equal, that someone could have the same amount of traffic as you, but you might not make as much as them because it affects the RPMs. And I think my analytical brain like clicked on, and it was like, oh, the way you said it just made so much sense to me that it finally felt like something I couldn't ignore anymore, because I did have it on my to-do list of updating the categories and making it more user-friendly, more searchable. And it was a to-do list item because I love my lists. I just kept putting it off to the next week. Oh, I'll get to that. Oh, maybe that's not as important. But really, it was because I didn't know how to do it.
Yes.
I didn't want to touch it. When it comes to the website tech things, not my forte. And so I didn't know what to do with it, I think. And I knew it needed to be done, and I didn't know how to do it. And after working with you, realizing, oh yeah, there was no way I was getting that done on my own. There was way more to it than I even ever anticipated. Or no, because in my head, I thought, okay, just make a few new categories, shift some stuff. It'll be great. Easy.
Right.
No.
Because, you're thinking, well, okay, the more recipes I have, the more categories I need to have.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is, at some point, going back to that sustainability conversation from the previous episode, it's just not sustainable long term, because you can't keep up with 460 different categories and what's in what category, and how are you going to feature recipes from that many different categories.
And I think obviously that is not my zone of genius. I think of when I got my kitchen redesigned, like someone came in and could see the vision. They could see what could be done where I couldn't. And then they also had ideas and knowledge of saying, well, we could do this. We could make this happen. We could just restructure it in a way that was like, oh, I didn't know that was a possibility.
Isn't it funny how sometimes when somebody says it, it's like, oh, I never would have thought of that. And then the other ones, you're like, how did I not think of that?
How did I not
like,
see it?
That was so obvious. I should have thought of that. But again, forest trees. I mean,
exactly. I think it was something you said with one of the categories of my site. It was maybe the Easter. When they're coming for that, it should feel very Easter forward. And I think I always went in with, when you're clicking the categories, and I would go, well, I guess this could be an Easter recipe. Sure.
Yes.
You would, maybe you wouldn't make it, whatever. And so, yeah, again, it goes back to that, like, the idea of readers coming to my site. It's like someone going up to someone in the store. Can you just point me in the direction?
Yes.
Because I don't have time to search through this entire store to find the one item I'm looking
Exactly.
for. And
Exactly.
I knew where it was as the owner of the store. And I think, like I said, it was that feeling of I knew it should be done because it would make things better. But when you unlocked that part of saying, like, strategically, why would make sense from that business financial side, it's like now it's like a double whammy of
Yes.
now you really can't ignore this. You have to get this fixed.
And I appreciate that you said that you just ignored it because I'm guilty of this, right? It's like when you know you've got a leak somewhere, but you're like, it's not that bad. We'll
Not
just
bad.
pretend like it doesn't exist. That's always a healthy way to cope
Manageable.
and deal with that.
It's
And
manageable.
usually, either something gets added to it that causes a bigger
Yeah.
problem that you can't ignore, or something shifts, something
Yep.
changes entirely. So, for you, I guess your biggest hesitation would have been because I don't know what to do, I'm just going to kind of ignore it until it becomes a problem. And then once you knew that it
Right.
was a problem, all of a
Yep.
sudden you were like, okay, I can't just keep ignoring this.
And I think if I thought if I tried to fix the leak, it would become a giant problem. A leak would become much bigger. So I was like, don't touch it. It's just a tiny leak. It's no big deal. And then when you were pointing out on the podcast of what you're leaving on the table money wise,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, so I could, as a mom, go back to the limited time that I have. I could fix this problem. And by that, hand it to you.
Right, right.
Hand it to you and see a jump in the RPMs and traffic money, all of it. It just without me having to do more, create more, whatever. It's like just the redesign then would help fix that. Obviously, I had to go and look at my categories and I looked at like where recipes go and helped better to organize it too, which was eye-opening as well. It was like, oh, I have this category. Why? I have 3 recipes in it. So it just helped see it from your point of view. And I mean, yeah, it was technically a big decision for the website, but it was to me at that point a no-brainer because I saw that when you pointed out the data of it, I was like, well, this is basically a stupid thing if you don't get it done at this point.
Right, right. When you've got 50 recipes, DIY is totally fine. Like most people can't afford right out of the gate to go
No.
get a custom design. So you DIY it. And I think there's a lot to be said for that because you learn a lot as you do
Oh,
these
yeah.
things. It's kind of like we experiment, we fail, we learn. It's just all part of it. But at some point, and it's different for different people, when you realize, wait a second, this could be done better, and not just from an aesthetic perspective, because yes, that is an important component, but from a strategy perspective, especially as we're talking about streams of income, we're talking about ad revenue, we're talking about optimizing stuff.
Right.
Everything builds on everything else. And it's not just this, well, I'll deal with SEO and then that'll just deal with SEO, check that off. Well, no, SEO helps you in this area helps that, and everything sort of touches everything else. And so understanding that the way a website is categorized and structured has everything to do with making more money, all of a sudden, like you said, you can't unhear that.
I wanted people to obviously not just find the site, but I wanted people to stay on. But I wanted them to stay on and say, oh, I think I want to opt into her email list. So then they can come back. And the way things were, yeah, it wasn't optimized, obviously, where it could be. And like what you said, about 1,000 recipes on there. I understand why someone would say, well, I need this one thing. I'm not going to search and search and search. And now it's like, I love it. Now, if I send out an email, I say, okay, here's this new cookie recipe. Oh, and if you want to check out all my chocolate chip cookie recipes,
Yes.
now you can go right to that. I'm going to go back to the store thing, go right to that aisle.
Yep.
Here you go, which is just fun and cool. And I've already had readers because I announced it and I've gotten emails already. They're like, I love it. This is so great. Thank you. This is awesome. This is fantastic. It's made it so much easier. And I was like, that's what I wanted. Like,
Yes.
obviously you want to see the financial side of it. You want to see the RPMs and the ad money increase and stuff. But I think with AI, everything today, if I can have a reader reach out and go, this is fantastic. Thank you. Like that real person connection and that they go, hey, I'll come back to your site now.
Yes.
I can use it. That's huge. Yeah.
And that's where I feel like future proof food blogs by thinking like a user. AI can only go so far. Yeah, it could create a recipe. I mean, one-off recipe, AI could create that. But the user journey, the user experience, getting those emails where the person is like, hey, oh my gosh, this is so great. It's that strategy part that's the human side of us and realizing that they may look for cookies. But how should we further subdivide that to make this a better experience for them? I think that's the human human side that AI cannot replicate.
Right. And it's like I want them to come to my site and almost have them think it's like she knew what I wanted. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, like I didn't know I needed that, but now I see, oh, it's like she knew I would want that. And it's there. The homepage now is designed in a way so it's like I'm inviting you into my store and it's like I think I know exactly what you want before you want it kind of thing.
Yes. And using that same analogy, it's like when you go into a store and you start talking to the salesperson and they're like, I have got something perfect for
Got the
you. And
perfect
they
outfit for you.
go
Yep.
and they get it and you're like, oh my gosh, how
Yeah.
did you know? Like that's the
Yeah.
experience we want people when they
Yeah.
get there, not wait, where am I?
Good luck to
I got
you.
lost on the way to the bathroom. We don't
Yeah.
want that. We don't want them in the storage room. That's not where we're going.
Like I was trying to find something and I gotta leave. Like it's overwhelming. Like I said, I've already got readers emailing me about it, which is so cool. It's nice to stand out in the world of AI is the name of the game.
I agree. And even just in the food blogging space, because it is a very saturated market. But here's the thing there are so many unique takes
Hmm.
on the same stuff, right? Every food blog has a unique angle or a unique
Right.
spin. Perhaps it's the recipe creator's experience, perhaps it's the way that they take photography. There's so many different
Right.
angles that a person can take as a food blogger and stand out in the crowd. The
Hmm.
key is figuring out what is it that makes you different and what is it that keeps readers coming, staying, and
Hmm.
then what do they want? Because like you and I were talking about when we were first really structuring everything and talking about like the navigation, how we wanted the categories to be set up, we talked about a lot of different ways to present the content. And then we
Yeah.
kept going back to the question, what do
Yes.
your readers
Yeah.
want to see? What do they want more of? What do
Yeah.
they constantly ask you about? And that is how we designed your site specific for
Yeah.
your audience.
And I had done a site redesign there years ago, and it did make it very pretty and did help with SEO as far as that goes, but it was not as customized to me and my audience. And now that
Mhm.
it took it that next step, it was like got me to here, and now it's like, okay, now this gets me for what my readers are coming to me for.
Do you feel like your site is built for monetization now and easier for you to add to and think future wise how
Yeah.
you want to continue building it out?
Yeah, because again, it was that podcast we were talking about. Not all RPMs or Harvey said it. All page views are the same. Maybe that's what it was. Let's say I'm going to go back to Easter because that was just the recent holiday. It was like
Mhm.
let's capitalize on that Easter traffic and those RPMs and ad companies wanting to spend that money. And I can now change it up very easily. You showed me
Mhm.
how to do that, so I
Yes.
custom changed out a few of the things. So now it's kind of moving into more of let's say Mother's Day and berry recipes and things like that. So if someone comes in and it's changed up again so that it's like, oh, this is now what I need to capture every bit of that monetization.
I think it's like a storefront. You know, they don't put all the stuff that's on clearance in the front window, right?
Right.
They put the newest and the freshest. And
Yeah.
if a holiday is coming up or a special event or something that is relevant to the
Right.
person that would be going in there, that's what they're going to be showcasing in that front window. And that's what you want that homepage to
Right.
be able to do. And something that I always talk about is different companies have increased budgets at different times of the year.
Hmm.
And so a post that is very Easter based
Right.
is going to have higher RPMs for a very narrow window. But if you can capitalize on that window, you can absolutely max out your RPM for those posts. So why not feature those?
And I think when I was listening to that, that's when it kind of clicked in my brain of, oh, I don't know if I knew it like, I didn't know it like that. I knew
Right.
that they spent more during certain quarters and I knew that they spent more right before a holiday, obviously,
Mhm.
but I don't know if I thought it connected directly to a single post or recipe or
Mhm.
whatever. And so I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I am missing out on some money here, aren't I? Like this, so I
Mhm.
can make more again without having to do anything.
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, there was obviously some effort put in on my end here as part of it, but the majority was you. And if I hadn't, it's like I would still been missing out on money, obviously, and then just going on that hamster wheel and
Mhm.
potentially not seeing that scale or growth of it because of I'm missing out. I'm not optimizing it for it.
And now that it's all organized in such a way, just like you said, when you were talking about emailing and having the chocolate chip cookie recipes, you just grab that URL really quick and it's no big
Yeah.
deal. Things are already organized and structured. And of course, this is always the goal when I work with clients. We want it intuitive and
Mhm.
so seamless and beautiful and wonderful for your user, but also for you because the thing is, you're still having to go in and do stuff on the back end.
Yeah.
And so if you know Easter's coming up, all right, well, I know that all these 25 recipes are Easter recipes. So I
Mhm.
can build my content calendar focused on these 25 recipes. And
Yep.
maybe you forgot about 10 of them because, you have had them around for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They're great recipes. You just forget about them because they're
Yep.
like way down the list.
Yep.
Now you can maximize every single post for that higher RPM. And then, of course, you've got your oldies but goodies that are always going to be those good evergreen posts that are going to be continually giving you traffic, but they may be giving you $30 RPMs. And these Easter ones may be giving you $80 RPMs. Yes, please. I will take the $80 RPMs as
Right.
many days as you'll give them to me.
Yeah, it was like I can make more without doing anything else. Like
Exactly.
that's the name of the game, right? That's what
That's
that's
the working
fantastic.
smarter,
Yes.
not
And
harder.
that's why I said when I saw the data in my face, that was when we jumped on the call.
Yes. And I was like, hello, let's
Yeah.
chat. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. And then you saw how disorganized my store was.
But actually, though, it's so funny. It's like you have somebody to come clean your house and you clean your house before they come and
Yeah.
clean your house. And
Yeah.
you're
Okay. I'm
like,
glad I'm not alone in that. Yeah. Okay.
but the thing is, most people don't have a total hot mess on their hands. They've got some stuff, and I can
Right.
tell the direction they were going, and they're not on the wrong track.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just not optimized or not strategically laid out. And sometimes it's just a little change or a little shift, but that
Yep.
shift makes all the difference in the world.
And I think for myself, it was like the house cleaning, I cleaned it to the best of my knowledge.
Mhm, mhm,
And I don't know how to organize. My husband is the one who organizes. So,
mhm,
and I think for the site, I feel like I stopped organizing in a sense. Like I made my categories.
mhm.
There were not many subcategories within them. And so, yeah, there was broad categories.
And that's the hardest part because it works at 50 recipes
Right.
and it works pretty good at 200 recipes, but at 1,000 recipes,
Yeah.
you've got to get more granular than that.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the part that people miss is as they're building out more and more content, they're still adding to those main categories and they're doing a great job with all of that.
Right.
But it gets to the point where if someone goes to your dessert recipes and you have 500 desserts, they can't filter that
No.
any lower unless you give them ways to do that. And if you
Right.
don't, they're not going to sit and filter
Yeah.
through 500 recipes or 20 pages of archives.
The problem had gotten for myself, at least, so big that I didn't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
It was on my list for months going, I know I need to do this, just don't know how. And it sounds like so daunting of a task. And I was like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
it's not
because
broken.
again,
It wasn't
it,
broken. It just,
that's it. You're hitting the nail on the head with that because unless it's actually broken, like your site's down or
right, then I
something
panicked
is
and
in your face, you have to fix it. It's kind of like, well, it could be better, but you don't realize how much you're missing out on.
right.
So you just pretend like you're not missing out on it.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wait a minute. Okay,
I
this
know.
person has the same number of page views as I do.
Yeah.
Why are they making?
And I
not
didn't know
everyone's
that was,
making,
I don't know
but
if I realized that was actually a thing. In my early 20s, I didn't realize that my vision was getting worse and worse. And I just thought, no one can see that, thing across the room. No one can see that, whatever. And it was getting pretty bad. And I remember someone goes, can you read that across the room? And I go, who can read that? And everyone looked at me and they go, everyone can read that. You can't read that? And I put on my mom's glasses and it was like,
yes.
oh my gosh. I was like, this is what I've been missing. And I just didn't realize how bad the problem had gotten because it was a gradual decline in my eyesight.
Yes.
Or anyone. And it was, I obviously went to the eye doctors after that. And I mean, it was the detail and oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing. And you don't realize how bad sometimes a problem has gotten until someone does fix it for you. And you're like, this is what it could have been like. Oh. Like my mom
Yes.
goes, you're scaring me. Your reaction is scaring me. And my eye doctor goes, you make me want to get off the road. I was like, oh. Many years ago, I'd wear contacts now full time. Yeah. And it was one of those, the problem can just get a little bit worse all the time until it's a giant problem. But you just sometimes don't even realize how big the problem is until someone fixes it for you.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's easier a lot of times to make tweaks here, make tweaks there, convince ourselves that, oh, if I just chase this other shiny object, or if I do this other thing, if I just post more, if I just add this or do that, when we're kind of avoiding the real problem.
Yeah,
But
I was
the
patching
thing
it, I thing. Someone emailed me, I'll just give them the link to the recipe, specific recipe that solves, easy done, they found it. But there's a lot of people who aren't emailing me and maybe are just saying, well, forget it, I'm just going to go to someone else's site and get it and never return sort of thing.
So what would you tell somebody that's kind of like you were, that's going, okay, maybe subconsciously they know they should probably do something, but also they're kind of like, well, if I just don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. That's very healthy.
If they're like me, if you think about the money maybe you're leaving on the table. For myself, it was looking at the hard data of it all. Before, it was maybe a more of emotional, oh, I should do this because it would make things nicer, easier to use. And I needed more of the hard data, that picture painted in my head.
We're all drawn to attractive spaces, right? You don't spend all this time and energy on these photographs to look like trash. You spend a lot of time and energy to take these beautiful photographs. You spend all this time making sure you get just the right mixtures for your recipes. Why won't you do the same thing for your website? And that's where this redesign and restructure that we're talking about happened for you. So we dug in, and in less than a week, which I know at the time felt like so daunting. And then I was like, okay, we can get this done in just a few days. And now
I thought about that. I thought if this was me doing this, when you said a few days, I thought, oh, wow, I'd be working on this for months and still not getting near what level you took it to. It'd be, me bootstrapping it and trying to still just here or there and make little changes and thinking I'm sort of making it better, but not really. And it felt in the moment of like, wow, it feels like I'm spending a lot of time on this. But then it was like, okay, it was actually like less than a week. All right.
Because when you're elbow deep in it, the minutes really just aren't going by very quickly. And you're just, it feels very overwhelming, especially 1,000 recipes in. You're like, oh my gosh.
Right. But it was like, I could be spending my time doing that, which will have a direct effect. Or I could do another post. Yes, it would be SEO optimized and it would be user friendly and all that, but it doesn't connect to the big picture. If the big picture is kind of broken in a sense, like now it's like I can go back to doing what I know how to do best.
Yes. And the thing that I want people to realize too is once it's done, the part that we spend so much time on in the process, I know it feels in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like so many things, like getting all the posts where they need to go and all that. Made a home for everything. Now we just have to put it where it goes. All that work was a means to an end. And it actually is an end. You're still going to be creating recipes. That's never going to change, right? The pace at which you create them may change. But at the end of the day, you're still going to be creating recipes. This, once it's set up structurally in a sound fashion and you've got a great foundation, then it's just a matter of building out from there.
And that week there, I was talking to my husband about it and he was like, yeah, but like once this is done, it's like done. And you won't have to think about that. It's set up, it's done. And I was like, you're right. There's more category pages with more links, which is great for SEO and they're all connected and that's what we all want. In the moment, though, I was like, oh, I got to write one more category page.
I know.
Thank God for ChatGPT because I did hand that off quite a bit that week. I was like,
oh, ChatGPT comes in clutch when it comes to that.
I was like, please write me one more now for this category. I want these recipes mentioned, and it did make things go a lot faster. So
last question for you. What do you think has surprised you the most after doing this whole restructuring on your site? What do you think has been the most surprising either result or sort of light bulb moment for you?
I go on to it now and I try to go into that reader mindset of just, it feels like, oh, wow, it's so much more user friendly. And it's like, they can go now and like find, they're looking for something for the season, something for the holidays. We have flavors now because I knew based on my own analytics, there were certain categories of flavors that they were coming to me for. But I think it was also just the immediate response from readers when I sent out saying, hey, check this out. Look what I did. Look what I did,
Well, yeah, but still.
Look what Jen did. And the immediate response of thank you for doing this. And that was just like immediate. I didn't have to wait for that. That was cool. So I liked that a lot.
So it was immediate validation that what you were doing was translating what
that was a right decision. Yes.
Okay. So if someone's listening and they're like, I don't know, should I do this? Should I wait? What would you suggest?
Do you like leaving money on the table? Or that was for me, that was the way you explained it for myself with RPMs and page views and that ad spending money. It was to me just a no-brainer because it's an investment, but it was, an investment that is going to be a payoff. You can make your site pretty, sure. And that's nice, but my site was already pretty, but it was affected by AI a little bit. And so to me, it was like, this is a business. That is obvious to me. Stop leaving money on the table.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Food Bloggers Table. I'm your host, Jennifer Holt, and I look forward to serving you in the next episode.